Hi loves, welcome back to the channel Style by C. Today's tutorial will be on how to recreate this beautiful piece. Do subscribe to the channel, watch, share to friends, and don't forget to give us a thumbs up. So guys, the first thing first I'm mark is my half length, alright, which I've done. Then go ahead and mark, impute your shoulder measurements. So my shoulder measurement is 8 inches. Then on this start point line, I'm going to mark 3 inches for my neck width. Then coming down to this point, to my shoulder, where my shoulder stops, I'll come down by 1 inch for my shoulder slope. Then I'll connect it to the 3 inches we have here. And this is what we have. The next step now is our chest line stroke armhole depth. Now you're going to divide your bust measurements by 6, add 1.5 inches to it. You will get your bust measurements. So at that point, I also mark my shoulder measurements and connect it to my shoulder slope. And this is what I have. So this is my chest line and this is my armhole. Alright, so I'm going to divide what I have here into 2 to get the midpoint. And this is the midpoint. So from that midpoint, I'm going to be coming in by 1/2 inch. I'll connect to my shoulder slope. Then using the curved part of the rule, I'll make a curve into the chest line. And this is what we have. Now place your tape back at your start point line. Okay, so mark your bust points. Mine is 10 inches, my under bust 13 inches. Then I'll go ahead and make a rule across each point. Then label, this is B, this is U, this is H, my hem or half length. Okay, so now we're going to divide your bust measurement. Get your nipple to nipple measurements. So my nipple to nipple measurements is 4 inches. I'm going to mark it on my bust line, at the under bust, and on the half length. Then I'll go ahead and connect the points together. And this is what I have. Alright. So having done this, I'm going to come to my hemline. I'm going to mark 1 inch on both sides of this hemline. So on both sides, I'm marking 1 inch. The same thing I'm going to do on my under bust, 1 inch on both sides. Then I'm going to connect them using a rule. This is what I have. Then I'm going to be using the curved part of this rule to connect to my bust line. And this is what we have. Alright? Having done this now, I'm going to divide my shoulder slope, what I have left in my shoulder slope, into 2 to get the midpoint. And this is what we have. Then connect it to your bust line here. And this is what we have. Now the next step we're going to determine is how deep, like the upper parts of our bustier. Okay, so now I'm going to be using 6.5 inches. Please note you can decide to use 6 inches, 7 inches. So I'm going to be using 6 to 6.5 inches because of the arc we're going to be having on top. Alright, so I'm going to work with 6 inches. Okay, so on my 6 inches points, let me make a rule across that point first. So on my 6 inches point, I'm going to mark half an inch on both sides. The reason why I'm marking this half an inch is to tighten my over bust so it will not slack. That is the reason for tightening this area, please. And this is what we have. Alright, so the next step now is to make our curve. So this is where our chest line is. So from my bust line, I'm going to measure what I have. I have 1.5 inches. And this is my 1.5 inches. So this is where I want my deep curve to stop. Please note you can decide to bring it down maybe on your bust line or 1 inch below your chest line, depending on how deep you want yours to be, or maybe half an inch below your chest line. It's totally fine. So from this point now, we're going to be making a deep curve towards this area. And this is what we have. This is that U curve that we have in front. Please note you can decide to deepen yours, okay? Now the next thing we're going to do is, we have removed 1 inch here at this point of our over bust. We're going to be adding it back to our pattern paper to avoid shortage, plus ½ an inch stitching allowance. Having done this now, please note you have to do this in a slant form, not on a straight line, like slanty a little too. Then you go ahead and retrace your armhole measurements, okay? So I've retraced my armhole. This is what my armhole looks like. This is our new armhole for this bustier area, okay? So now I'm going to go ahead and insert my bust measurements at this point. You measure what you have. You have about ½ an inch plus ½ an inch extra, or 1 inch extra for stitching allowance. On your waistline, you impute your waist measurements, plus these inches we have here, like, because this is going off, so you add it back to your pattern paper, plus 1 inch stitching allowance. Go ahead and retrace them. So this is not your actual seam allowance. This is the allowances you are removing here. This part, you have added it back to your pattern paper. Now we're going to be working on the upper part proper. That is this shoulder area, because it has a kind of Queen Anne neckline. So guys, now we're going to be working on this part of our pattern paper. Okay. So now for my neck, I'm going to be reducing it by 1 inch. That is my neck width. Remember we used 3 inches earlier for our neck width. Now I've reduced it to 1 inch. Okay, so I marked 1 inch here. Then I'm going to come to my chest line, which is here. And I'm also going to go ahead to mark 1 inch inwards. That's from this point now, I marked 1 inch. And this is what I have. Now, I'm going to be making a curve from this that intake at the over bust. I'm going to be connecting to my 1 inch using the curved part of this rope. And this is what I have. So we have that sharp curve at this point. Now from this point now, this 1 inch we have here, I'm going to be connecting to the 1 inch I have on the shoulder slope. And this is what we have. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead to cut this piece out. Just watch carefully what I'm going to be cutting out. So now this is what we have. Then we'll now cut out this area. So you see, we have that shape at that area. This is what we have. When you open it up, this is what it's looking like. Okay, you have your Queen Anne, you have your deep UV here. You still have this sharp edge at this point. Okay, but because this is a bustier, we're going to be closing up this area. So practically we are cutting off this piece. So we're going to cut it out for you to have your joining, then your boning casing, and all the rest of them. So this is what I have. Okay, this is what is going to be looking like, and this is our center piece. All right. So this is what we have for our cotton paper. So I'm going to be pinning it down on a mannequin so I'll be able to see what we did. What you have to go ahead to do is, after joining your bustier areas, go ahead and insert your boning to it. Okay, you make a boning on this using it to make a casing, then insert your boning to it.